Hey everybody, welcome back to In Bed with the Millennial. I'm the Millennial Javeda Bay, and this is my bed. And it is our last Monday of anal August. I'm so sad, but that still means I still got another day of talking about backdoor play. And today I specifically want to make sure that I've dispelled all the myths that are out there about backdoor play. So we're gonna bust them right now. Let's get into it. There are really like five big misconceptions or myths around anal play that I hope throughout the month you've already come to the conclusion like, oh, that's not even true. But if not, I'm going to walk you through them right now and explain why that's not the case. So, the first big misconception about anal play is that it's a gay thing. Spoiler alert, sexual acts themselves do not have a sexual orientation. An act is an act. Who you are attracted to is who you are attracted to, and that is going to play into your sexual orientation. So, if you happen to enjoy anal play, it does not define your sexual orientation. So, if you happen to enjoy things being put up your butt by yourself or someone else, that does not inherently mean that you're gay or lesbian or bisexual or anything of that nature. It just means that you like a particular activity and you've explored the full breadth of possibilities when it comes to sexual pleasure. So, anal play is gay. No, it's not. Anal play is a type of sexual activity, just as is fingering and super hot makeout sections. You can do it regardless of what your sexual orientation is. So just to clear that up, sexual acts do not equal sexual orientation. Myth number one, busted. Myth number two, anal play always hurts. No, that is not true at all. Can it hurt? Absolutely. If you don't follow the proper steps, you haven't educated yourself, you haven't done your anal training, you're trying to do stuff without lube, like anal play can hurt, but it doesn't have to. There's a lot of different ways to minimize and mitigate pain with anal play if you're actually willing to put in the time and effort. And for a lot of folks that say that anal play hurts, it's because they are not willing to put in the time and the effort. Anal is not a quickie activity. It is something that you are going to need to prepare for mentally, physically, possibly even emotionally. So having this assumption that it would be quick and easy, like anything, is going to be why it hurts. And that's why a lot of people say that, but it's a misconception. It doesn't have to hurt. It does hurt if you have not done the like early build up steps to make anal play a pleasurable and painless experience. And if you're like, Jave, how do I do that? Babes, first of all, you're already on the YouTube channel that you need to be to know that. So like go back and watch some old episodes of In Bed with the Millennial because I got videos that talk about how to anal train. I have videos that talk about how to just like ensure that you have pleasurable anal sex. I got toys that talk about anal sex toys or videos that talk about anal sex toys. So if you need that, check out my YouTube channel. But the idea that anal sex always hurts is absolutely a myth. It is a misconception. It is not true. So again, busted. Myth number three: anal play is always messy. Again, no. Anal play can be messy. And for some people, they want it to be messy, which we don't yuck somebody else's yum. You ain't doing their laundry, so what does it matter to you? But it doesn't have to be a messy thing because there are steps you can take to ensure that it's not going to be messy. There are also products that you could use to minimize mess, aka things like barrier methods. You can use latex gloves. You can use Laurel's latex undies. Use this code if you want to save when you purchase some. But there are ways to minimize the mess, even if you don't want to do the work of like fully cleaning, like with an enema bulb and things of that nature. Like there are ways to mitigate it. But if your biggest worry or concern is about mess when it comes to anal play, it's a fair concern. Obviously, we should probably be worried about making a mess because who really enjoys doing laundry? The answer is no one. But there are ways that you can actually minimize your chances of making a mess when you're doing anal play. And it's in different areas. Like for some people, they're like, I don't actually have to do like the full shebang of like changing my diet beforehand. Like I'm gonna just eat whatever I want and I'm gonna do the extra work of like doing maybe a few extra rounds with an enema bulb to make sure I'm all cleaned out. Some people are like, I absolutely only do a liquid diet for 24 hours before I do anal play. If that's what you want to do, you can absolutely do that. Some people are like, we just use barrier methods, so we never have to really worry about it. Some people only do anal play in the shower. Whatever you want to do, there's ways to mitigate it. But the idea that anal is always messy is absolutely false. That is a misconception and a myth that I, again, have just busted for you. Myth number 4, and this one kind of goes in alignment with myth number 1. But like straight men don't and like are never on the receiving end of anal. And that's a big fat lie. That is so false. Because again, engaging in an activity does not impact your sexual orientation. And there are plenty of straight men that do enjoy anal play for a wide variety of reasons. And one of the big ones being that the prostate is there, and that is essentially the male G spot. So, like, it's a very, very, like, tell me you never read a book before starting a whole myth about a specific particular type of anal play. But straight men do are on the receiving end of anal sex, and it's completely healthy, normal, and a valid sexual activity for anyone and everyone to engage in, regardless of your sexual orientation or your gender identity. Because most of us got booties, so why would we all not want to play with them? So like, don't give in to that idea. And if you happen to be a straight man that's watching this and you're like, you know what, I have been like interested in anal play, but I've been like, oh, that's just like so gay. One, it's not gay. Remember that Hillary Duff commercial? Two, go and explore it if that is what you want to do. Like, you should be prioritizing your pleasure for you, not for society's like expectations and rules that it's placed on us, that all stem from like puritanical BS, and I ain't here for that. So if you needed someone, not that you need somebody to give you permission, but if you were looking for it, this is your permission to go out and explore receiving anal play, if it has been something you've wanted to do. So yeah, myth number 4, busted. And the fifth and final myth that I am going to bust today is that anal sex is more risky in terms of like contracting an STI, but more specifically HIV. This is so not true, and again ties back into that first myth of like doing anything anal is gay. This idea of like anal play inherently leading to HIV stems from, one, the HIV epidemic and like the fear around it, and like a lack of knowledge and understanding around HIV and AIDS and how it's actually spread, but also the perpetuation of the idea that like anal sex is a gay activity, only gay people do it, that's why HIV is a gay disease. Again, that's not true. But all of those pieces are connected, and it's important to recognize like the roots of that, because it steeps into homophobia, transphobia, and just like all kinds of misinformation. And I don't want anyone to think that like, oh, well, if I do anal, that I'm more likely to get an STI, or I'm more likely especially to get HIV. Like, that is not inherently the truth. Like, you're more likely to get an STI if you are engaging in sexual activity with others. That's just the truth of the matter. If you play with others, there's always going to be risk. But what matters is actually doing the proactive steps of like making sure that you're doing your STI testing, making sure you're having conversations with your partners before you do activities, so that way there is knowledge shared between y'all. The act itself is not going to make you more likely to contract an STI or specifically HIV. Yes, there are things that can be done that can make it a little bit more likely to happen, like if you aren't using barrier methods, or if you didn't get STI tested, or even if you aren't using lube. That's why I say lube is a safer sex practice. But the myth itself is totally false. Anal play is not going to be the reason that you contract HIV solely on its own. Like, if that were to happen, it is going to be because there was a lack of communication between the parties involved. There was a lack of STI testing. Somebody wasn't being upfront and honest. Like, there's a lot of things that go into the contraction of STIs, and it is not inherently in one particular type of sexual activity, aka anal play. So there's that. Please, please, please know that like a lot of the stuff that you hear roaming around the internet and on the deep, deep depths of the interwebs, is all just like misinformation and fear mongering, and generally rooted in like homophobia and just like anti like pleasure, very puritanical. Like, it's not coming from a valid source usually. So if you ever come across something and you're kind of like, I don't know, Gervais never talked about this, and she loves talking about all things anal play, and more than likely probably necessarily isn't actually true. And I would encourage you to dig a little deeper into the source of where it's coming from, just so that way you know and you're aware next time that person may pop up on like your social media feeds. But yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions around anal play, and all I ever want to do is dispel them because it's not true. That's not it. Like, anal play is just as healthy, pleasurable, and perfectly like valid as every other form of sexual activity. Though, we've all gone through education, more than likely in the United States, and we know how cis heteropatriarchy is embedded into a lot of things. And anal sex obviously defies cis heteropatriarchy. So, like, what? But it's good. It's good, y'all. And I hope that all month long you got to experience some form of like anal play if you wanted to, and if not, you just learned more about anal play and you're like, maybe I had the wrong idea all along. Either way, I hope that you learned something this month, and that maybe the idea of anal play doesn't seem as scary, daunting, or anxiety producing as it may have before we started this month together. But yeah, that's that. I hope that this anal August has been especially delectable for you. And I hope that you're going to stick around, especially if you're new here, and learn more from me all year round. But that's that. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, because why would you not want all this content? Like, free, comprehensive, inclusive, accessible, pleasure focused sex education. You know how much of a rarity that is these days, especially in this censorship age? Y'all, take advantage of it. Click that subscribe button. And definitely make sure you're following on all my social media platforms, especially if you happen to be someone that enjoys like the PhD experience, or at least my PhD experience. You want to be following me on TikTok, because that's where I talk about it the most. And definitely make sure you subscribe to my email newsletter, because everybody on there finds out everything first. They get all my goodies first things first. So why would you not want that? Okay. Okay. But yeah, please subscribe. I am really trying to get to the point of monetizing this YouTube channel, so that way I can start bringing in money to cover these dissertation costs, because doing research ain't free. And wildly enough, I research areas that are not really funded, and it's real hard to find funding for them. So if you just do that little thing of click and subscribe and continue watching my videos, you would be helping me immensely to achieve my goal of becoming Dr. Effin. So yeah. But that's all I got for y'all today. I hope that anal August was everything you wanted to be, if not more. And until next time, I'm going to see y'all later. Deuces.